The phone rang so loud it woke me up. It was early morning. I was sleeping in my small house by the lake. The water looked pretty through my window. I'd come here after my grandson's birthday party. I needed to be alone for a while. Everything felt heavy in my heart. I sat up slowly in my bed. I wasn't scared. I wasn't shocked. I felt something weird. Almost like I knew this was coming. Mrs. Chen, your grandson's wife, is at your store. She brought strange people with her. She says the store is hers now. Mr. Lopez sounded worried. He worked at my shop. Don't stop her, Mr. Lopez. Let her come inside. She will find something she doesn't expect. Are you sure, Mrs. Chen? Yes, I'm completely sure. Let her walk in with those people. Just write down her name in the book. Make sure she signs it. Hung up. I grabbed my phone fast. I opened the special app. It showed me videos from cameras I put in my store 4 weeks ago. Nobody knew about them. Not my grandson Danny. Not his wife Maria. Not even my best friend Rose. The cameras were tiny. You couldn't see them. They were everywhere in my shop. Near the cash box. By the shelves. In the back room. In the office. They sent videos straight to the internet. They saved everything. The pictures showed up on my screen. There she was. Maria Santos. She married my grandson only 5 months ago. She stood in front of my shop. She talked to the people with her. 4 big men wearing blue work clothes. One man carried big empty bags. Another man looked at papers on a board. Maria had her hair tied back. She wore gym clothes, but her face showed something different. She looked nervous, rushed, like she had to hurry. I watched her talk to Mr. Lopez. She moved her hands a lot. She pointed at my shop door. I couldn't hear her words yet, but I could read her lips a little. She said something that made me hold my phone tight. This belongs to me now. Tapped my screen. I changed to a different camera. The one that watched the hallway. It was empty and quiet. My shop door was closed. Everything looked normal. I went back to watching the front. Maria was already walking toward my door. The 4 men followed her. Mr. Lopez stayed outside. He looked sad. Good man. He'd worked for me since I opened my shop 8 years ago. He knew everything about me. He knew I'd been alone since my husband died. He always said hello with a smile. I took a big breath. My heart was beating fast. But not because I was scared. It was because I was ready. Like when you know something big is about to happen. And you're finally in charge of it. Maria reached my shop. She stopped at the door. She reached into her bag. She pulled out something metal. Mickey. The camera was good. Showed everything clearly. Maria put the key in the door. She turned it. The door opened. They all walked inside. The lights turned on. I switched to the cameras inside the shop. There they were. Standing in my store. Maria looked around. Her eyes moved over everything. Like she was counting how much money she could get. Like she was deciding what to take. The men waited for her to tell them what to do. Take that machine first, Maria said. I heard her voice clearly. The camera sound was perfect. And those boxes on the shelf. Be careful with the glass things. They cost a lot of money. One man looked at her with a strange face. Are you really sure the owner said you could do this? Maria looked annoyed at him. I own this place now. My grandmother-in-law gave everything to me. She's too old. She can't run a shop anymore. It's better if I take care of things now. I sat very still. I stared at my phone. I listened to every single word. Too old. Can't run a shop. The same things she'd been saying for months. But now she said them like she was so sure. So certain that I wouldn't be there to say she was lying. Another man asked, what about the papers? We usually need to see something written down. Maria pulled a folded paper from her bag. He showed it quickly. She didn't let them read it carefully. It's all legal. Right here. Now start moving things. We need to finish before the sun comes up. Before the sun comes up. Before anyone could see. Before neighbors woke up and asked questions. Before anyone called for help. But it was already too late for her plan. Because while she talked, while the men started lifting my things, While Maria checked the drawers looking for who knows what, the cameras recorded everything. Every move. Every word. And not just that. The app already sent a message to my lawyer, Miss Kim, and to the police station nearby. I set up that system 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks after the dinner at Danny's house. The dinner where I felt sick. For weeks after I started seeing strange things. For weeks after I heard Maria talking quietly on her phone about making things happen faster. I looked at my screen again. Maria walked into my office. I watched her open my desk. She checked my papers. She reached into the drawer where I kept special things. She pulled out a watch. My husband gave me that watch on our last anniversary together. She held it up to the light. She smiled. She put it in her pocket. I'll keep this one too. One of the men came to the office door. Ma'am, there's a lot of stuff here. Are you taking everything? Maria turned around. Everything that's worth money. My grandmother-in-law doesn't need any of this anymore. She's in a better place now. The way she said it. Like I was already gone. Like my life was over. Like she was just picking up what was left. I closed my eyes for a moment. I breathed slowly. The sound of the lake made me feel calm. When I opened my eyes, I touched another button on the app. The cameras had a special thing they could do. They could record conversations even when people thought no one was listening. Maria walked back to the main part of the shop. She took out her phone. She called someone. She waited. Then she talked. I'm in the shop. Yeah, I used the key I took last month. No, she's not here. She's at the lake house. Like always. This will be fast. She stopped talking. She was listening to someone. No, the drink trick didn't work. She stopped drinking it. But it doesn't matter now. This is good enough. Once I get everything out, I'll make Danny sign the papers. He doesn't know anything. She stopped again. Then she laughed. Of course he won't like it at first. But when he sees it's already done, what can he do? She has nobody else. We're the only family she has. My hand squeezed my phone hard. The drink. Those times at Danny's house when Maria said I should stay for a snack. When she made that special juice she said was good for my heart. For sleeping better. For feeling calm. That drink. After drinking it I always felt dizzy. Confused. My stomach hurt for hours. It wasn't just in my head. It wasn't me imagining things because I'm older. It was real. Maria kept talking. Look, with everything here we can sell things for maybe $15,000. And that's not counting the shop building itself. When we sell that, we'll get at least $150,000 more. We'll have money for a long time. And she won't be able to say anything. By the time she figures it out, everything will have our names on it. She hung up. She stood in the middle of my shop. She looked around with a big happy smile. Like she'd won something. I stayed sitting in my bed at the lake house. Phone in my hand. Tears came down my face. I didn't even know I was crying until I felt them. It wasn't about the shop stuff. It wasn't about the money. It was about being hurt by someone I trusted. It was about realizing my grandson married someone who could do this. It was about all those times I doubted myself. Thinking I was just being mean. Telling myself I was just a jealous grandmother. A grumpy old woman who couldn't accept that her grandson loved someone else. But that wasn't true. Maria Santos planned to steal from me. She tried to make me sick with that drink. And now she was in my shop. In my space. Touching my things. Taking my life piece by piece. I looked at the time. 5:30 in the morning. The police must have gotten the message by now. Miss Kim got it too. Soon everything was going to change. But before that happened, I needed to think about how this all started. How a 65-year-old woman who ran her own business. Who raised her grandson after his parents died. Who worked her whole life. Who bought this shop with her own money. How did I become someone they wanted to get rid of? I needed to remember where this began. Started 5 months ago. Danny called to say he met someone special. I was at the hair salon with Rose sitting next to me. We went there together every week. Usually on Wednesday afternoons. We'd done this for years. We got our hair fixed. We painted our nails. We talked about our lives. Rose was 67. 3 years older than me. Her husband died too. We met at a cooking class at the community center. We'd been best friends ever since. When my phone rang and I saw Danny's name, I smiled. My grandson didn't call as much as before, but when he did, it made me happy. Grandma, I need to tell you something. His voice sounded different. Excited. Nervous. Tell me, sweetheart. I met someone. An amazing woman. Her name is Maria. We've been together for 4 months. I think she's the one. I sat still under the hairdryer. Rose looked at me curiously. For months and I didn't know. For months and he never brought her to meet me. I swallowed the little hurt I felt. I smiled even though he couldn't see me. That's wonderful, Danny. I'm so happy for you. I want you to meet her. Can you both come to my apartment for dinner on Saturday? You and Rose, if she wants to come. Said yes. Course I said yes. He was my grandson. My only grandson. The boy I raised alone after his parents died in that car crash when Danny was only 9 years old. 14 years had passed since then. 14 years where my life was about making sure he was okay. Making sure he finished school. Making sure he got a good job. Making sure he was happy. Saturday came. I went to his apartment with flowers and a cake from Danny's favorite bakery. Rose came with me. She always said I needed someone there for important moments. Maria opened the door. She was younger than I thought. 28, I learned later. Almost 20 years younger than Danny. Long black hair. Perfect makeup. Nice clothes. She smiled big when she saw us. Mrs. Chen, it's so wonderful to finally meet you. Danny talks about you all the time. She hugged me. It was a long, tight hug. Like we were old friends. She smelled like strong, sweet perfume. We went inside. Danny's apartment looked different. More decorated. There were new pillows on the couch. Pictures on the walls. Candles burning. The table had nice cloth napkins. Maria has great taste, Danny said. He came from the kitchen. He smiled proudly. We ate dinner. Maria cooked chicken, rice, and vegetables. Everything looked nice. Tasted okay but a little boring. But I ate it all. Smiled. I said it was delicious. Because I saw how Danny looked at her. Waiting for me to like her. During dinner, Maria talked a lot. About her job at a clothing store. About her plans to open her own store someday. About how wonderful Danny was. About how happy she was. She asked about my life too. About my shop. If I still worked there. If I lived alone. If I had many friends. It must be hard to live alone at your age, she said. Her voice sounded sorry for me. Your age. I was 65, not 85. I ran my own shop. I went dancing twice a week. I had friends I saw all the time. I drove my own car. Paid my own bills. I traveled when I wanted. I didn't feel alone. I didn't feel weak. But the way she said it, like it was obvious, made me uncomfortable. I'm doing just fine, I said. I like living alone. Maria smiled. Course. But still, if you ever need help, Danny and I are here. We're family now. Family. They dated for 4 months and she already talked about family. Rose looked at me sideways. I knew that look. Meant be careful. After dinner, Maria said she wanted to make special juice. I brought special fruits. They're really good for your health and help you relax. She came back from the kitchen with 4 cups. The juice smelled strange. Something sweet mixed with something bitter that I couldn't name. I drank a little to be polite. Rose barely tasted hers. Danny finished his whole cup. He said it tasted great. Maria watched us drink. She smiled. 30 minutes later I started feeling dizzy. Just a little at first. Then stronger. The room seemed to move a bit. I told Danny I should go home. That I was tired. Rose drove my car because I didn't feel safe driving. I don't trust that woman, Rose said in the elevator going up to my apartment. There's something wrong about her. Did you taste that weird flavor? Tasted it too. But I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to be that grandmother. That woman who never likes anyone because nobody is good enough for her grandson. In the next few weeks, Maria started showing up more in my life. Phone calls to invite me for coffee. Text messages asking how I was. Surprise visits to the shop with Danny. Always kind. Always smiling. Always with that worried voice that seemed real but made me feel watched. Are you eating enough, Mrs. Chen? You look too thin. Are you sleeping well? You have dark circles under your eyes. Isn't it too much for you to run a shop alone? What if something happens and nobody finds out? Each comment was like a tiny drop of water. One drop means nothing. But when they add up, they start to make a whole. Danny changed too. He started saying Maria's things. Grandma, are you sure you're okay? Maria says you look tired. Grandma, wouldn't it be easier if you had a smaller shop? Grandma, you should think about the future. About what happens when you can't work anymore. I was 65 years old. I worked. I went out. I traveled. But suddenly they were making me feel like I was about to fall apart. 1 month later, Danny called with more news. They were getting married in 3 months. Maria already planned everything. Small wedding. Just close family and a few friends. I was expected to help pay for it. I was the grandmother. It was my job. I gave them $4,000. Money I saved for years. Money I kept for emergencies or a special vacation. But it was my grandson's wedding. How could I say no? The wedding was beautiful. Maria wore a pretty white dress that Danny said cost $2,000. There were flowers everywhere. Music playing. Good food. Everything very fancy. I smiled in the photos. I hugged my grandson. I welcomed Maria to the family. But during the party, I heard something that scared me. I was in the bathroom fixing my lipstick. I heard voices outside the door. It was Maria talking to someone. Friend maybe. I'm telling you, this marriage is the best choice I ever made. Danny is easy to control. And the old lady has money. A shop worth $150,000. Savings. Lake house. And the best part is she has nobody else. Only Danny. Everything will be ours soon. The other voice laughed. What if she doesn't want that? That's why I'm working on her. I already made her half believe she's too old to handle her business. Give it a few more months and she'll beg us to take over. They left the bathroom. I stayed inside, holding the sink, trying to breathe. It wasn't in my head. I wasn't being paranoid. Maria Santos planned this from the start. That night at the lake house where I went after the wedding, I made a choice. I wasn't going to be a victim. I wasn't going to let them steal what I built. I wasn't going to stay quiet while they treated me like trash they needed to throw away. Called Miss Kim, my lawyer and friend for years. I told her everything. Every strange thing. Every weird comment. Every time I felt like I was being tricked. Chin, you need to protect yourself, she told me. And you need proof. Because if this goes to court, your word alone won't be enough. She'll say you're confused, that you're paranoid, that your age is affecting your mind. It was Miss Kim's idea to put in the cameras. Small invisible cameras with good sound throughout my shop. Connected to an app on my phone. Set up to record everything. To send automatic messages if anyone came in without permission. If she tries anything, you'll have proof, Miss Kim said. And that proof will destroy her. I put in the cameras 3 weeks ago. I also changed the locks. But I left an old key hidden where I knew Maria would find it. I wanted her to think she still had access. I wanted her to feel safe. And it worked. Because now, as I sat at the lake house looking at my phone, she was in my shop. Dealing my things. Confessing her plans. Burying herself. 2 weeks after the wedding, while I was still thinking about what I heard in that bathroom, Maria started the next part of her plan. She invited me to lunch at her apartment. Well, now it was hers and Danny's apartment. He bought it 3 years ago with my help. A loan of $8,000 he never paid back. But it didn't matter. He was my grandson. I wanted to help him. I arrived with a plant as a gift. Maria opened the door wearing an apron. Like she'd been cooking all morning. The house smelled like home cooking. She hugged me with the same big enthusiasm as always. Mrs. Chin, how lovely. Come in. Come in. Danny is at work, but I wanted us to have time alone. To know each other better. We're family now. I sat on the couch. The same couch I helped Danny buy. Maria brought lemonade in tall glasses with ice and mint leaves. While we drank, she asked about my daily life. You still go dancing twice a week. Isn't that too tiring? I enjoy it. Keeps me healthy. She nodded with that knowing face. That's wonderful. But you have to be careful. At a certain age, your body doesn't work the same. My aunt fell at a dance class 3 years ago. She broke her arm. She never danced again. I took another drink of lemonade. Tasted strange. Too sweet with a bitter taste at the end. And that shop is so big, Maria continued. So much work. Don't you feel tired running it? Aren't you worried something might happen and nobody will know? Have friends nearby. Rose comes often. Yes, but still. A woman your age working alone. Danny worries about you so much. You know, he always says he's scared something bad will happen to you. My age again. Like 65 years old meant I was helpless. We ate lunch. Baked fish with vegetables. The food was fine but again a little boring. Maria kept putting more food on my plate. Eat more, Mrs. Chen. You're too thin. After lunch she made that juice again. The same one from the first dinner. The same fruits with that strange smell. It's amazing for your stomach. And it helps you sleep better. You said you sometimes can't sleep. I never said that. I slept perfectly. But she said it like she was so sure. For a second I doubted my own memory. I drank the juice to be polite. This time the bitter taste was stronger. I made myself finish it while Maria watched with that fixed smile. Mrs. Chen, I want to talk about something important. She leaned forward like she was sharing a secret. Danny and I have been thinking. You have a lot of property. A lot of responsibilities. The shop. The lake house. The bank accounts. Taxes. Wouldn't it be easier if we helped you manage all that? My heart beat faster. I manage my things just fine. Course. I'm not saying you can't. Just that sometimes it's good to have help. Someone younger who understands computers and banks. All those modern things. We could make Danny a co-owner, for example. Just for safety. So if anything happens to you, everything is organized. Owner. That word hit me like cold water. I don't think I need that. Maria kept smiling but something changed in her eyes. Well, think about it. Just an idea. We only want to help you. 30 minutes later I started feeling sick again. The same dizziness. Feeling like I might throw up. The room moved slightly. I told her I needed to go home. Maria said she'd call a taxi. That I wasn't safe to drive. She was right. I wasn't. In the taxi going home I opened my phone. I had messages from my dance friends. Photos of Rose at the park. A video from my cousin in another city. Real people. Real life. Reminding me I wasn't alone or useless like Maria wanted me to feel. In the next few days, Maria's calls and messages got worse. Good morning, Mrs. Chen. Good afternoon. How did you sleep? What did you do today? Every message looked like she cared. But it felt like she was watching me. Danny also started asking strange questions. Grandma, did you pay the electric bill this month? What about the water bill? Are you sure? Like I suddenly couldn't remember to pay my own bills. Bills I'd paid for 35 years without a problem. One afternoon I was in my living room with Rose. Maria showed up without calling first. She rang the doorbell. She came up without me saying okay. She arrived at my door with a grocery bag. I brought you some things. Fruit. Bread. Milk. I was passing by and thought of you. Rose was sitting in my living room. She looked at Maria with that face I already knew. She didn't trust her. That's very kind, I said, taking the bag. I hadn't invited her in. But she walked in anyway. What a nice apartment, she said. She walked through my living room looking at everything. Touching my furniture. And those pictures are lovely. They were your husband's, right? Beautiful. It must be hard to keep all this clean. So many rooms. So many things. Haven't you thought about making things simpler? Selling some stuff. Moving somewhere smaller and easier to manage. Rose stood up. Chen manages her home perfectly well. Maria looked at her like she just noticed her. Course. I'm just saying sometimes less is more. Especially as we get older. Getting older. Like I was falling apart. After she left, Rose got angry. That woman is a snake. Don't you see what she's doing? She's breaking you down bit by bit. Making you doubt yourself. Getting ready for something. I know, I finally said. I heard something at the wedding. She married Danny for money. For my property. Rose was quiet for a moment. So what will you do? I don't know yet. But I need to be smart. If I confront her now, she'll deny everything. She'll say I'm paranoid. That my age is making me confused. And Danny will believe her. She has him completely controlled. He nodded. Since they got married, Danny is different. He repeats everything she says. He looks at me differently. Like I'm a burden. The next day, Maria sent another message. We need to talk about something important. Can you come to dinner tonight? I went even though I knew better. I went because I still had that tiny hope I was wrong. That Maria cared. That my grandson hadn't traded me for a woman who only saw dollar signs where she should see family. The dinner felt tense. Danny was quiet. Maria talked non-stop. After dessert, she pulled out papers. Mrs. Chen, we prepared something. She put them on the table. It's a simple legal paper. Nothing complicated. Just so Danny can help you with your bank accounts, payments, property. You just sign here. I looked at the papers. My name was written with blank spaces for my signature. Legal words I barely understood. I won't sign anything without my lawyer checking it first. Maria's face got hard for just a second. Then the smile came back. Course. Smart to be careful. But this is just to make things easier. So you don't have to worry about anything. I'm not worried. I handle my business just fine. Grandma. Danny finally spoke. His voice sounded tired. We're just trying to help. Why are you making this so hard? Why was I making it hard? Like taking care of my own stuff was me being stubborn and not just normal. I stood up. I'm leaving. Maria stood up too. It's okay. Take the papers. Think about it calmly. But truly, Mrs. Chen, this is for your own good. We only want to protect you. Protect. That word stayed in my head all the way home. Because I knew when people say they want to protect you, sometimes what they really want is to control you. The week after I refused to sign the papers, everything got worse. Danny stopped answering my calls as much. When he did, his answers were short, cold. Maria called me more. Always with that sweet, worried voice that was now annoying me. Mrs. Chen, Danny is very sad. He says you're not being nice to him. That you're ignoring him. That you're cold to her. I was at the park with my walking group. 6 women between 60 and 70. All widows or divorced. All living alone. We met 3 times a week at 6 in the morning. We walked around the lake together. After, we drank coffee at the small cafe and talked about our lives. I didn't reject anyone, I told Maria. I moved away from my group a little. I just said I need my lawyer to look at the papers. That's normal. Yes, but Danny felt like you don't trust him. Like you think he'll do something bad to you. Maria, they are my properties. I have the right to be careful. There was silence. Then her voice got colder. But you have a point. Well, I hope your lawyer tells you everything is fine. We only want the best for you. Even if you don't see it that way. She hung up. I went back to my friends. Betty Wong, the oldest in our group, looked at me with worry. Everything okay? My grandson's wife. Betty knew the story. They all knew. I told them everything. That woman needs to be told no clearly. No. But it's hard. Danny is completely on her side. Linda Park, who was 63 and used to be a nurse, came closer. Chin, are you still feeling dizzy after visiting them? Every time I drink that juice she makes. Don't take anything else she gives you. Nothing. No food. No drink. Nothing. Do you really think she could be putting something in it? Linda looked at me seriously. I've seen cases. People who use herbs or medicine or anything to make someone seem confused. Unable to function. Then they say the person needs help. That they can't take care of themselves. And they end up taking control of everything. Her words made me feel cold. 'Cause it made sense. Everything made sense. That afternoon I went to see Miss Kim. Her office was downtown in an old building. but it was nice inside. Miss Kim was 68. She had completely gray hair. She wore thick glasses and she was very smart about the law. She'd been my lawyer since my husband died. I showed her the papers Maria wanted me to sign. Miss Kim read them quietly. Her face got more and more serious. Finally, she put them on her desk and looked at me. Chen, if you sign this, you'd basically be giving Danny complete power over all your accounts, property, financial decisions. They could sell your shop without asking you. They could empty your bank accounts. They could do whatever they wanted. I felt like I couldn't breathe. But Maria said it was just to help me. To help themselves. This isn't a paper of help. It's a paper of giving away power. And it's written in a very clever way. Any judge who sees it will think you can't handle your own business. What do I do? Miss Kim leaned back in her chair. First, never sign anything without asking me. Second, we need to protect you legally. I'm going to write documents that clearly say you are fully capable, that you make your own decisions, and that nobody has power over your property except you. Third, and this is important, you need proof of what's happening. What kind of proof? Recordings, messages, anything that proves they're manipulating you. Because if this goes to court, and I think it might, your word alone won't be enough. They'll say you're confused, that your age is affecting you. They'll paint you as a senile old woman who doesn't know what she's doing. That word, like being 65 automatically made me invalid. What if I put cameras in my shop? Miss Kim raised an eyebrow. Cameras. To record if they try to come in without permission. Or if they say anything bad when they're there. It's your property. You have every right to put security cameras. And yes, they could be useful as proof. I left her office with a plan. That same afternoon I looked online. I found small cameras that didn't need wires. They had good sound. They connected to an app on my phone. They recorded when they saw movement. They saved everything to the internet. They cost $700 for 6 cameras. I bought them right away. They arrived 4 days later. I spent a whole afternoon putting them up. In the main room, hidden behind a clock. In the back storage above the shelf. In my office on the bookcase. Near the cash register in a fake plant. At the front door, hidden in the light fixture. I downloaded the app. I set up the notifications. Tested everything. It all worked perfectly. I also changed the locks on my shop. But in a clever way. I asked the locksmith to leave the old lock there but make it not work. Put a new working lock right below it. From outside it looked like one lock. But the old key Maria probably copied wouldn't work anymore. And then I waited. I didn't wait long. 3 days later I was at the grocery store. My phone buzzed. A notification from the cameras. Movement detected in the shop. Opened the app. My heart pounded. 'Twas Maria. She was in my shop. Alone. Walking slowly. Looking at everything. She opened the drawers in my desk. She checked the papers inside. She took photos with her phone of some documents. Then she went to my office. She opened my cabinet. She checked my personal box. She took a small statue my husband gave me. She put it in her bag. She stayed in my shop for almost 15 minutes. Checking. Taking photos. Touching my things like they already belonged to her. When she left, I sat down in the middle of the grocery store. My shopping cart sat beside me. I forgot about it. I looked at my phone. My hands shook. It wasn't in my head. It was real. Maria was planning to rob me. That night Danny called me. Grandma, Maria told me you're not treating her well. That you're ignoring her. That you're being cold. Danny, how did Maria get into my shop today? Silence. What? She was in my shop this afternoon. Did you give her a key? She said she needed to pick up something you were lending her. I didn't lend her anything. And she was going through my drawers. My documents. My personal things. Does that seem right to you? Grandma, don't start with your theories. Maria wants to help you. And you just push her away. You're being paranoid. Paranoid. That word again. Danny, I have cameras. I recorded her going through my things. Taking pictures of my documents. Stealing a statue. Another longer silence. Cameras. Since when do you have cameras? Since I started thinking something wasn't right. This is crazy. You're spying on your own family, Grandma. Think you need help. Professional help. Maybe talk to a doctor about this. A doctor. They wanted to say I was mentally sick. How convenient. I don't need a doctor, Danny. I need you to understand your wife is not who she says she is. I'm not listening to this. Maria is my wife. And if you can't accept her, then maybe we need some space. He hung up. I stood there with the phone in my hand. In my empty apartment. Feeling everything fall apart. My only grandson just chose a woman he knew for months over the grandmother who raised him alone for 14 years. But I wasn't giving up. Called Miss Kim. I told her everything. I sent her the camera videos. This is perfect, she said. We have proof of trespassing. And if she stole something, it's also theft. Chin, you've got her. And now what? Now we wait. Let her think she's winning. Let her keep going. The more she does, the more proof we have. It was the hardest advice to follow. Because every part of me wanted to confront her. To yell at her. To show her I knew everything. But I kept quiet. And I waited. The final insult came at the family lunch she organized 3 weeks later. She called me on a Thursday morning. Her voice sounded happy. Like nothing happened. Like I didn't know she entered my shop without permission. Stole my statue. And photographed my documents. Mrs. Chen, I want everyone to come together this Sunday. Family lunch. I'm inviting my mother and my sister too. It'll be nice for you to meet them. Almost said no. But then I remembered Miss Kim's words. Let her think she's winning. The more she does, the more proof we have. All right, I'll come. Perfect. And Mrs. Chen, please bring the lake house papers. Danny and I want to help you organize the property paperwork. You know those things get complicated at your age. Your age. Every time she said it, it felt like a little punch. I arrived at their apartment at noon on Sunday. I rang the bell. Maria opened it. She wore a fancy dress. Perfect makeup. Big smile. Mrs. Chen, it's wonderful to see you. Come in. Come in. In the living room were Danny, an older woman who must be Maria's mother, and a younger woman who must be her sister. There was also another man I didn't know. This is Carlos and his wife Sophia. My uncle and aunt, Maria said. Not Miss Kim, my lawyer. Obviously different people with the same name. I sat on the couch. Maria's mother looked me up and down with a strange expression. The sister didn't even say hello. She just nodded while looking at her phone. Maria brought wine. I said no thank you and asked for water. I wasn't drinking anything she gave me. I learned that lesson. During lunch, Maria talked a lot. About her business ideas. About how well Danny was doing at his job. About how happy they were together. Ate quietly. I only spoke when someone asked me something directly. After dessert, Maria changed how she talked. Well, now that we're all family, there's something important we want to share. She looked at Danny. He looked uncomfortable but nodded. We've been worried about Mrs. Chen. Everyone looked at me. Lately, we've noticed she's very forgetful, Maria said with that soft, worried voice. She forgets things. She gets confused about days. The other day she called me thinking it was Monday when it was Friday. That was a lie. It never happened. And she's been very paranoid, she added. She put cameras in her shop because she thinks someone is watching her. She accuses us of things we didn't do. Maria's mother made a sad sound. Poor thing. That's normal at that age. My mother was the same before we had to put her in a care home. I felt heat rise to my face. I'm not confused. And I put cameras because someone came into my shop without permission. Maria looked at me with that patient look. Like looking at a small child who doesn't understand. Mrs. Chen, I went in because you told me I could stop by to get that book you were lending me. Don't you remember? I never lent you a book, Maria. Maria looked at the others. This is what I'm talking about. She doesn't remember things. Danny spoke up. His voice sounded tired. Grandma, we're worried. Really worried. Living alone and running that shop isn't safe for you anymore. You've had accidents. I've never had accidents. You fell in the shop 3 weeks ago. You told me on the phone. That wasn't true either. I never said that. Maria's sister spoke for the first time. Look, ma'am, I know it's hard to accept. But my grandmother was the same. She started by saying nothing was wrong. She ended up lost in the street, not remembering where she lived. I stood up. I'm not staying here to listen to this. Maria stood up too. Mrs. Chen, please sit down. This is important. We love you. We want to help you. And that's why we prepared a solution. She pulled papers out of a folder on the table. Papers different from before. We talked to a lawyer. This is voluntary guardianship. Basically, you agree you need help managing your business and you let us do it for you. It's the best way. That way you can keep living peacefully without worrying about anything. I looked at the papers. Then I looked at Danny. My grandson. The boy I raised. He wouldn't look at me. I will not sign that. Maria's nice face disappeared for a second. I saw pure anger in her eyes. But she quickly smiled again. Mrs. Chen, if you don't sign voluntarily, we'll have to start a legal process. We have witnesses. She pointed to everyone in the room. Everyone here can confirm you're not well, that you're confused, that you need help. A judge will order a doctor to check you. And when that check proves you can't take care of yourself, they'll assign a guardian anyway. Better that it's family, don't you think? It was a trap. Perfect trap. If I signed, I lost everything. If I didn't sign, they'd force me legally. And they had witnesses ready to lie for her. I felt something break inside me. It wasn't fear. It wasn't sadness. It was cold, absolute clarity. I need to use the bathroom. Maria smiled. Course. It's the first door on the right. I went to the bathroom. Closed the door. Took out my phone. I texted Miss Kim, my real lawyer. They're trying to force me to sign guardianship. They have fake witnesses. I need help. Her answer came fast. Don't sign anything. Leave there now. I'm starting legal action immediately. We have the recordings. This is coercion. I took a deep breath. I washed my face. I looked at myself in the mirror. I saw a 65-year-old woman. Tired, yes. Scared too. But not defeated. I left the bathroom. Everyone waited for me in silence. I will not sign, I said clearly. And if you try to force me, my lawyer will take legal action against all of you for forcing me and for fraud. Maria stood up. Fraud. How dare you? I know exactly what you're doing. I know you came into my shop without permission. I know you stole my statue. I know you've been making up lies about me to make me look incapable. And I have proof of everything. The room went completely silent. Danny finally looked at me. Grandma, what are you talking about? Ask your wife about the gold statue she took from my office 3 weeks ago. Ask her about the photos she took of my documents. Ask her about her phone calls where she talks about my shop like it's already hers. Maria laughed nervously. This is ridiculous, Danny. Do you see what I'm talking about? She's seeing things that aren't real. I have recordings, I said simply. The color left her face. Cameras with sound throughout my shop. Recording every time someone enters. Saving everything to the internet. And my lawyer has copies of everything. I turned to Danny. Danny, I love you. But your wife married you for money. For my money. For my property. And she's been trying to make me look incapable so she can take everything from me. That's not true. Maria's voice was sharp. Danny, don't believe her. She's sick. She's imagining things that don't exist. But Danny was looking at me differently now. Like he was finally seeing something that was there all along. I grabbed my purse. I'm leaving. And the next time someone enters my shop without permission, I'm calling the police. I walked out. Nobody stopped me. In the elevator going down, my hands shook. I'd broken the silence. I showed what I knew. But I didn't have another choice. Outside in my car, I sat for a long time. My phone rang. It was Rose. How was lunch? Horrible. I'll tell you later. Are you okay? No, I said. I'm not okay. But I will be. I will be. I drove to the lake house. I needed to be far away. I needed to think. I needed to get ready for what was coming. Because now Maria knew that I knew. And desperate people do desperate things. That same night from the lake house, I called Miss Kim. I need legal protection now. We met the next day. She drove all the way to the lake with a folder full of documents. We sat on the porch with the sound of water in the background while she explained every step we'd take. First, we're getting a complete mental evaluation from a real professional to prove you're in full control of your mind. No dementia. No confusion. Nothing that justifies guardianship. He nodded. How long will that take? 1 week, maybe 2. Several sessions. Brain tests. Interviews. But it's essential. Because when Maria tries to say you're incapable, we'll have recent medical proof to prove her wrong. What else? We're going to update your will. Put in very specific rules. That no property can be sold or transferred without you saying yes in front of a notary. And that any change requires approval from 2 independent witnesses. Basically, we're going to shield everything. I made a mental note of everything. You also need to change your bank accounts. Open new accounts at a different bank. Transfer your money there. Accounts only you can access. Don't even tell Danny they exist. And the lake house. That's only in your name, right? I bought it 6 years ago with my work money. We're going to make sure that's very clear in all the records. And we're going to put cameras here too. If Maria tries to get in, we'll know. I spent the next days following the plan. I went to a brain doctor Miss Kim recommended. Dr. David Chen. A man in his 50s with 25 years of experience checking mental capacity. He gave me memory tests, thinking tests, time and place tests. He asked about my life, my daily habits, my money decisions. It was exhausting. But when we finished, he told me his answer. Mrs. Chen, you are perfectly capable. There are no signs your brain isn't working right. No confusion. Nothing that means someone else should make decisions for you. I will write a full report. And if needed, I will speak to a judge. I left his office feeling relieved and angry at the same time. Relieved because I had confirmation. Angry because I needed that confirmation in the first place. Because my own family made me doubt my sanity. I opened new bank accounts at a different bank across town. I moved my savings. $25,000 I'd saved over the years. Money that meant my security, my independence, my future. He updated my will. The new rules were clear. If anything happened to me, the shop and the lake house would be sold. The money would go to a charity for older women. Nothing for Danny while he was married to Maria. Miss Kim would be in charge. It's extreme, I admitted as I signed. But I can't take chances. Smart, Miss Kim said. And you can change it later if things improve. But for now, you're protected. I put more cameras at the lake house. I made the lock stronger. I told the neighbors clearly that nobody should enter without me calling them directly. During those days, Danny called me several times. I didn't answer. I wasn't ready. I needed everything in order first. Maria called too. She left voice messages. At first she sounded worried. Oui. Mrs. Chen, please answer. We're worried. What happened on Sunday was a misunderstanding. Then the messages changed. You can't hide forever. We need to fix this. And finally, hidden threats. If you don't talk to us, we'll have to take legal steps for your own good. I saved every message. Every recording. It was all proof. 1 week later I came back to the city. I had a meeting with Miss Kim at her office. When I got there she looked serious. Chen, Maria and Danny started a legal process. They're requesting a check of your mental capacity. They claim you're a danger to yourself. I felt empty in my stomach. Can they do that? They can try. But we're ready. We have your brain evaluation. We have the camera recordings. We have proof Maria entered your shop without permission, stole things, and has been lying about you. When we show all that to the judge, their case will collapse. When is the court hearing? In 3 weeks. But before that I have something else to show you. She opened her laptop and played a video file. It was a recording from my shop cameras from 4 days ago when I was at the lake. Maria appeared on the screen. But this time she wasn't alone. She was with a tall, thin man carrying a briefcase. Who is that? Yes. Keep watching. In the video, Maria and the man walked through my shop. She showed him every room. He took notes, took pictures, like he was checking how much the property was worth. He's a real estate agent, Miss Kim said. Maria is trying to sell your shop. My shop. The place where I'd worked for 8 years. The business I built after my husband died. She was selling it behind my back. But she can't do that without my signature. She can't do it legally. But listen to what they're saying. Miss Kim turned up the sound. Maria's voice was clear. The shop is worth around $150,000, maybe more. It's in a great location. My grandmother-in-law will be in a care home soon, so we need to sell fast. The agent asked, "Do you have the paperwork ready yet?" "We're almost there. We're in the process of getting guardianship. Once we have that, we can sell immediately." "And she's okay with this?" Maria laughed. "She's not in a condition to be okay or not. That's why we need guardianship. But don't worry. Everything will be legal." The video ended. I kept staring at the black screen. Her home. They wanted to put me in a nursing home. Sell my shop. Keep my money. Erase me from my own life. "There's more," Miss Kim said. She opened another file. This time it was an audio recording. Phone call. Maria's voice talking to someone. "I already found the perfect care home. Costs $2,000 a month. With the money from selling the shop, we can pay for years. And in the meantime, we keep the lake house. We can use it or sell it too. That's another $100,000 easily." The other voice, which sounded like her sister's, asked, "What if she fights back?" "She can't fight back. Once we have guardianship, she has no say. And if she makes a scene, it just proves she's crazy." "It's perfect." Closed my eyes. The pain in my chest was real. Physical. Like something broke inside. "When did you record this?" "Yes. 3 days ago. The cameras picked up her call when she was in your shop. Calmly talking about how they'd get rid of your life." I opened my eyes. The sadness was turning into something else. Something cold and hard. What else did the cameras get? Miss Kim looked at me seriously. "There's something else. And it's serious." She opened a third video. Dated 2 weeks ago. Maria was in my shop's small kitchen. Alone. She opened the cabinet where I kept sugar and coffee. She took a small bottle from her bag. She emptied it into my sugar container. Then mixed it with a spoon. Put the empty bottle back in her bag. And left. "What was that?" My voice sounded strange. "Far away. We don't know. But we need to find out. Do you still have that sugar?" "I haven't been to the shop for 2 weeks. But we're going now. We're taking a sample and having it tested in a lab." We went immediately. We entered my shop wearing gloves. Miss Kim took out a sealed bag. She opened the sugar container. Took a sample with a clean spoon. Sealed it. "I'll take this to a private lab. We'll know what it is in 48 hours. Those 48 hours were the longest of my life. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I only thought about that bottle. About Maria mixing something into my sugar. About all the times I'd had coffee with sugar in recent weeks. About the dizziness. The confusion. When Miss Kim called with the results, I already knew they'd be bad. It was a sedative. Strong sleeping medicine. Enough to cause confusion, dizziness, and memory problems. If you kept taking it, it would eventually cause symptoms that look like dementia. I sat down slowly. She was poisoning me. And we have video proof. Chin, this is no longer just about money manipulation. This is about physical harm. This is criminal. 3 days after discovering the poison, I was at the lake house when the phone rang. 5 in the morning. My phone buzzed against the table. "Mrs. Chen, your grandson's wife is here with some men. She says she's the new owner. She's going to take things from your shop." Mr. Lopez sounded scared. I opened the camera app. There she was. Maria Santos. Standing in front of my shop. With 4 big men in work clothes. And a truck parked outside. "Don't stop her, Mr. Lopez. Let her come in. She's going to find a surprise." I hung up and immediately called Miss Kim. She answered fast. Her voice alert. "Chin, what happened?" "Maria is at my shop. She's coming to take my things. With men and a truck. Perfect. Don't do anything. The cameras are recording everything. I'm calling the police right now. I'll give them your shop address. Trespassing happening now. And if they take anything before police arrive, even better. More charges. Just stay calm. This is exactly what we needed. She hung up. I sat in bed, my heart pounding, looking at my phone screen. I watched Maria talk to Mr. Lopez. How he, following what I said, asked her to sign the book with her full name and ID. How she did it without hesitation. Convinced she had every right. I saw them walk to my shop door. Maria took a key from her bag. The old key that didn't work anymore. She put it in the lock. Turned it. Didn't work. She tried again. Nothing. I saw her say a bad word. One of the men asked something. She checked her bag. She took out another key. Probably a copy she made. It didn't work either. Wait here, she told the men. She took out her phone and called someone. By how her lips moved, I could read Danny's name. She waited. The call went to voicemail. She called again. Same thing. I watched her take a deep breath. Put the phone away. Look at the door with determination. Then she bent down and pulled something else from her bag. Thin card. She tried to force the lock open. This is illegal, one man said. Ma'am, if you don't have a key, we can't go in. I have the right to enter. This is my property now. My grandmother-in-law signed it to me. I have papers to prove it. Maria pulled a wrinkled paper from her bag. He showed it quickly. Here it is. Legal power. All legal. The man looked closer. This isn't signed by the owner. Yes, it is. Her signature is right there. Ma'am, I've worked moving for 12 years. I know how to spot fake signatures. This isn't real. Maria put the paper away fast. Look, I'll pay you double if you help me get in. I just need to get some things out quickly. The men looked at each other. One shook his head. Whoa, this isn't right. We're leaving. He walked toward his truck. Maria and the 3 remaining men started forcing the door. One took out a tool. He started working on the lock. My phone buzzed. A message from Miss Kim. Police on the way. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. In 5 minutes everything would change. The door gave way. Opened. Maria entered first. Turned on the lights. The 3 men followed her. That cash register first, Maria ordered. Pointing to my counter. And those boxes. That computer. Everything that's worth something. The men started working. They lifted the register. Moved it toward the door. The cameras captured every movement from 3 different angles. Maria went to my office. I watched her open my desk again. Check my personal drawer. She took out more things. Papers. Calculator. Picture frame. All things from my life. Things with memories. But to her they were just objects to sell. She came back to the main room. Took out her phone. Made another call. Yes, I'm inside now. I had to break the lock, but it's done. We're taking things out now. Oz. She listened to someone. No, she's not here. She's at the lake house. By the time she finds out, we'll have everything sold. Another pause. Then a laugh. I told you this would work. The old lady is too stupid to protect herself well. The stupid old lady kept talking. With what's here we can easily get 15,000. And that's not counting what comes next. Once the judge approves guardianship, we'll have access to everything. The shop building. The lake house. The bank accounts. Everything. The person on the phone said something. Maria laughed again. What will she do? Call the police. She has no proof of anything. And if she does, it'll just prove she's crazy. Paranoid. Exactly what we need for the incapacity case. Long pause. Then her voice got colder. Look, I tried the juice. But she stopped drinking it. Then I tried the sugar. I put enough sedative to keep her confused for weeks. But that didn't work either because she's barely been at the shop. So we have to do this by force. Take what we can now. Then fight for the rest. My hand squeezed the phone. She was confessing everything. Poisoning. Conspiracy. And the cameras recorded every word. One man appeared at the door. Ma'am, this is taking too long. Someone might call the police. Relax. Nobody will call. Just get the rest out and we'll go. But then I heard something else. Sirens. Far away at first. Then closer. The cameras didn't pick up outside sounds. But I could see Maria tense up. Go to the window. Look down. Her face went white. Whoa, whoa, whoa. She ran toward the men. Leave everything. Let's go now. But it was too late. The camera at the front showed the exact moment 4 police officers in uniform, hands on their weapons, came through the door. Please. Nobody move. I watched Maria try to run to the back exit. How one officer stopped her. Pushed her against the wall. Put handcuffs on her. Me go. You don't understand. I have a right to be here. This shop is mine. Ma'am, you're under arrest for trespassing. Whoa, whoa. Call my husband. He'll explain. My grandmother gave me permission. The owner of the shop, Mrs. Chen, filed a report. We have an arrest warrant. The 3 men were handcuffed too. One yelled that he just worked for the moving company. That he didn't know anything. The other was quiet. His head down. I watched them take Maria out of my shop. Yelled. Struggled. Said she was innocent. Neighbors came out. Watching. Whispering. My phone rang. Miss Kim. You saw everything. The recordings are already being sent to the prosecutor's office. We don't just have trespassing. We have attempted theft. Forgery. And most important, we have her confession about the poisoning. Chin, this is a solid criminal case. I was silent for a moment, processing everything. After months of manipulation, of feeling invisible, of doubting myself, justice finally came. And now what? Now Maria will spend the night in jail. Tomorrow she has a bail hearing. We're going to show all the evidence. The recordings. The lab test of the sugar. Everything. The prosecutor will ask that bail be denied because she's dangerous. And Danny. Miss Kim sighed. That's the hard part. Danny doesn't appear in any recordings doing anything illegal. Maria acted alone. We can prove she planned everything. That she entered without permission. That she poisoned the sugar. But Danny, we don't have proof he knew. Maybe he should have known. But legally we need proof. And right now we don't have it. Hung up. I sat on the bed, watching the sunrise through the window. The sky was orange and pink. The lake was calm. My phone buzzed again. Message from Danny. Grandma, please. I need to talk to you. Maria is arrested. I don't understand what's happening. Please call me. I stared at the message for a long time. My grandson. The boy I raised. The boy who chose a criminal over his own grandmother. I didn't answer. Not yet. The bail hearing was 4 days later. Miss Kim said I should be there. They need to see you. They need to see you're not a confused old woman like Maria wants them to believe. They need to see a strong, clear woman who knows exactly what was done to her. I dressed carefully that morning. A navy blue pantsuit. A white shirt. Closed-toe shoes. Nothing fancy. Just professional. Dignified. Rose came with me. She sat beside me in the courtroom, holding my hand. When they brought Maria in, I barely recognized her. No makeup. Messy hair. In an orange jail uniform. She looked small. Weak. But when her eyes met mine, I saw the same coldness as always. Danny was there too. In the back row. He looked destroyed. Red eyes. Wrinkled clothes. Like he hadn't slept in days. He looked at me with begging eyes. I looked away. The judge came in. A woman in her 50s. With a serious face. She read the documents quietly. Then she spoke. Ms. Maria Santos is accused of trespassing, attempted theft, forgery, and attempted poisoning. How do you plead? Maria's lawyer, a young man in a cheap suit, stood up. Not guilty, Your Honor. My client had reason to be in that shop. Her grandmother-in-law suffers from dementia and gave her verbal permission. The judge looked at him skeptically. Do you have proof of that verbal permission? Not at this moment. But it is not relevant. The judge turned to the prosecutor. Does the prosecution have evidence? The prosecutor, an older man with years of experience, stood up. Yes, Your Honor. We have video and audio recordings of the accused entering the shop of Mrs. Chen without permission. We have recordings of the accused confessing to poisoning food with sedatives. We have lab tests confirming sedatives in the victim's sugar. And we have witnesses who confirm the accused forced entry with help from others. Maria leaned toward her lawyer. Whispered angrily. He shook his head. Your Honor, the prosecutor continued. Ms. Santos represents a clear danger to the victim. For months she's been trying to make her seem mentally incapable to take her property. She went as far as poisoning her. If bail is granted, there's risk she'll try to contact the victim or destroy more evidence. The judge looked at Maria. Anything to add, Miss Santos? Maria stood up. Her voice shook. Your Honor, this is a horrible misunderstanding. I love my grandmother-in-law. Everything I did was to help her. She's confused. She doesn't understand what she's saying. The recordings are quite clear, the judge said dryly. Those recordings are taken out of context. I was joking on the phone. I never poisoned anything. The lab is wrong. The judge looked at more papers. It says here you also started a legal process to get guardianship over Mrs. Chen, claiming mental incapacity. Is that correct? Because I was worried about her. 'Cause I love her. But Mrs. Chen voluntarily had a full brain evaluation with Dr. David Chen. He determined she's in full control of her mental abilities. No signs of dementia. No signs of confusion. How do you explain that? Maria stammered. The doctor must be wrong. Or she tricked him. My grandmother-in-law is very manipulative when she wants to be. Hearing that. After everything. Calling me manipulative. When she was the one who planned to rob me. Poison me. Lock me away. The judge closed the folder. I've heard enough. Bail is denied. Miss Santos will stay in jail until trial. Given the circumstances and the seriousness of the charges, especially the attempted poisoning, I believe she's a danger to the victim and to society. Maria screamed. Whoa. This isn't fair. Danny, do something. Danny stood up. Your Honor, please. My wife wouldn't do this. There must be a mistake. The judge looked at him. You're the victim's grandson. Were you aware of your wife's actions? Danny hesitated. That hesitation condemned him. She told me my grandmother needed help. That she was confused. I only wanted to protect her. Protect her by forging documents and trying to steal her property. Whoa. I never. The prosecutor will determine your level of involvement. For now, I suggest you hire a good lawyer. They took Maria away. He screamed, cried, blamed everyone. First me. Then Danny. Then the system. She never blamed herself. We left the courtroom. In the hall, Danny caught up to me. Grandma, wait. Please. Stop. I turned around. I really looked at him for the first time in weeks. Did you know? Asked simply. Know what? About the poison. About the plans to sell my shop. About the care home. Did you know? Danny shook his head. But his eyes wouldn't look at mine. She told me you weren't well. That you needed help. I believed her. You believed her over me. Your wife of months over your grandmother who raised you alone for 14 years. I didn't know it would go this far. You have to believe me. You didn't know, Danny. How many times did I tell you something was wrong? How many times did I tell you I felt sick after visiting you? How many times did I try to tell you Maria wasn't who she said she was? And every time you called me paranoid. You told me I was overreacting. You made me doubt my own reality. His voice broke. Sorry. You're sorry. The anger I held for months finally came out. I almost ended up in a care home, Danny. Your wife poisoned me. She made me feel crazy. She planned to steal everything I own. And you helped her. Maybe not directly. But your silence, your denial, your choice to believe her and not me. That was helping her too. Grandma, please. She's my wife. I have to support her. Those words hit like a final blow. Then support her. Visit her in jail. Pay for her lawyer. Stand by her while she faces criminal charges. But don't ask me to understand. Don't ask me to forgive. 'Cause I also had to make a choice. And I chose to protect myself. I chose to believe in myself when nobody else would. So what? I'm not your grandson anymore. You'll always be my grandson. But that doesn't mean I have to accept how you treated me. That doesn't mean everything goes back to how it was. 'Cause it can't. Not after this. Rose took my arm. Let's go. I looked at Danny one last time. I saw the boy he was. The young man I raised. The man he became. And I realized I'd failed somewhere. Not in raising him. Not in loving him. But in teaching him that love doesn't mean sacrificing your dignity. That family can't ask you to destroy yourself. If you ever understand what you did, I told him. If you ever truly see the damage you caused, then we can talk. But until that day, I need distance. I turned and walked away. In the car, Rose drove quietly for a while. Then spoke. You did the right thing. Doesn't feel right. Never does at first. But in time you'll see it was necessary. That night, alone at the lake house, I sat on the porch looking at the water. My phone buzzed. Message from Danny. Grandma, I saw the verdict. You were right about everything. I don't know how to ask you to forgive me. I don't know if you ever can. But I need you to know I regret everything. Not listening to you. Choosing wrong. Making you suffer. I'm filing for divorce. I don't want anything to do with someone capable of hurting you. Love you. I've always loved you. And if you ever want to talk, I'll be here. I read the message several times. I felt something soften in my chest. It wasn't forgiveness yet. But maybe with time it could be. I didn't reply that night. But I saved the message. The following months were about rebuilding. I kept the shop but hired a manager. Someone I trusted to run it. So I could travel more. Rest more. I went to visit my cousin in Seattle. Where she welcomed me with open arms. To Hawaii. Place I'd always wanted to see. Places I'd put off for years because there was always something more important. I started painting classes. I discovered I enjoyed it. I wasn't good. But it didn't matter. It was mine. My time. My passion. Thank you so much for your sweet support. I'm looking forward to your comments on the story. On the screen you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story. With love and respect.